Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most defining events in human history, World War II. This wasn't just a war. It was a global conflict that completely reshaped our world politically, socially, and economically. From 1939 to 1945, nations across Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Pacific were embroiled in a massive struggle. So how did it all begin? Let's rewind to the end of World War I. Germany was forced to sign the Treaty of Versailles, which imposed harsh terms, a severely limited army, massive financial reparations, and significant loss of territory. Unsurprisingly, this created widespread resentment among the German people. This dissatisfaction became the perfect breeding ground for Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party, who rose to power in 1933 on a platform of intense nationalism. At the same time, in Italy, Benito Mussolini established his own fascist government. Both leaders were driven by aggressive expansionism. This wasn't just happening in Europe. In Asia, Japan had already invaded Manchuria in 1931 and launched a full-scale attack on China in 1937. Back in Europe, Hitler began to flex his military muscle. He remilitarized the Rhineland, annexed Austria, and then occupied Czechoslovakia. All of this was happening against a backdrop of global economic crisis following the Great Depression, with widespread unemployment and political instability fueling tensions everywhere. The tipping point came on September 1, 1939. On that day, Germany invaded Poland. In response, the United Kingdom and France declared war on Germany, and World War II officially began. Germany unleashed a new terrifying tactic called Blitzkrieg, or lightning war, overwhelming Poland with incredible speed. The war then entered its next phase. In 1940, Germany's expansion continued at a shocking pace, conquering Denmark, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, and France. After the fall of France, Britain stood alone. The Battle of Britain was a crucial moment, where the Royal Air Force heroically defended the skies against the German Luftwaffe, preventing a full-scale invasion. The conflict widened dramatically in 1941. Germany made a fateful decision to invade the Soviet Union in an operation codenamed Barbarossa. Later that year, on the other side of the world, Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. This single event brought the United States, a sleeping giant, into the war, fundamentally changing the balance of power. The years 1942 and 1943 marked a major turning point. On the Eastern Front, the brutal Battle of Stalingrad ended in a devastating defeat for the German army, a loss from which they would never fully recover. Meanwhile, in the North Africa campaign, Allied forces successfully pushed out German and Italian troops. The tide was beginning to turn in favor of the Allies. A new, decisive chapter began on June 6, 1944. This day is famously known as D-Day. Over 150,000 Allied soldiers landed on the beaches of Normandy, France. It was the largest amphibious invasion in history and marked the beginning of the end for Nazi-occupied Western Europe. As 1945 dawned, the end of the war was in sight. In April, with Allied forces closing in from all sides, Adolf Hitler died by suicide in his bunker in Berlin. Just a week later, on May 8, 1945, Germany officially surrendered. This is celebrated as VE Day, or Victory in Europe Day, but the war wasn't over yet. In the Pacific, the fighting continued. In August 1945, The United States made the controversial decision to drop atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Following this immense devastation, Japan formally surrendered on September 2, 1945, an event known as VJ Day, bringing World War II to its final conclusion. The consequences were staggering. An estimated 70 to 80 million people lost their lives. Entire cities were reduced to rubble, and millions were left homeless. The political landscape was redrawn. Out of the ashes, the United Nations was formed with the hope of preventing such a catastrophe from ever happening again. The war also set the stage for a new global rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union. Kicking off the Cold War, economically and socially, the world was transformed. Nations faced the colossal task of rebuilding. Women had entered the workforce in unprecedented numbers, and there were huge leaps in science and technology, including the development of radar and, of course, nuclear power. World War II was more than just a series of battles. It was a stark demonstration of the horrific cost of total war. The lessons learned from this period about diplomacy, humanity, and the pursuit of peace remain as important today as they ever were. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into history. We'll see you in the next one.